guys, this is Caitlin of Caitlin Shea Weddings. This is my first vlog, and so I wanted to start my first vlog with the topic of where to start when you are newly engaged. There are a couple of things that I did when I first got engaged. First of all, I went to my local King Soopers or Safeway or one of those and got a bunch of wedding magazines. First, because I wanted anyone who came to my house to see that I was engaged. And second, to really start narrowing down my vision and my theme and what I wanted my wedding to look like. And by theme, I don't mean something all out like Star Wars or Wizard of Oz, which if that's what you're into, by all means go for it. But by theme, I'm just talking about your color schemes, kind of the vibe that you want your wedding to give off, maybe what season you even want your wedding to be held in. The very basic beginning details can be narrowed down by looking at some of those inspirational photos, which obviously Pinterest and other online platforms are perfect for as well. And then after that, I would say you can pick one of two steps. The first would be hiring a wedding planner, which of course I recommend for many reasons, but they really just help you get started if you're stuck. They can even help you with these very beginning stages, like figuring out what your color scheme should be or what kind of venue you want to even start looking at. They also have connections with a lot of venues that they can send your way. However, if you don't think that a wedding planner is in your budget, or you're not sure you even want a wedding planner, I would say start with your venue. People are often surprised by how far in advance venues book out, especially if you're not familiar with the wedding world, which for anyone who is engaged for the first time, you are not familiar with the wedding world, I'm assuming. But they book out often more than a year in advance. So as soon as you're engaged, I would say start looking at narrowing down those choices. And if you're confused as far as where to even start looking for venues, I would say start by thinking about what you and your fiance love and who you are as people. If you're very outdoorsy, then a more rustic venue up in the mountains may be perfect for you. You can have the mountains as your backdrop. There's a lot of beautiful venues up there that you can get very woodsy and organic photos from. If that's not your thing, which another thing I'll add to that is a lot of out-of-town guests love the Colorado experience because they don't live here. So they don't have the luxury of having the mountains as their backdrop every day. And so they might really appreciate getting that experience from your wedding. If that's not who you are and you're more of an urban or out-of-the-box type of couple, I would say think about doing something at an art gallery or a museum or a distillery or something very out of the box. Websites like The Knot can help you narrow down venues like that. They have little categories over on the left where you can just click like, oh, I want to look at some museums or I want to look at hotels or different types of venues that you can kind of start to narrow down. If you're more traditional, I would say, and you're doing your ceremony and your reception in two different areas, I would say start with your ceremony site, especially if you have one in mind from like a church that you went to as a child that you want your wedding to be held at. I would start there and then find a reception space that's within a reasonably close distance to that ceremony space so that you're not making your guests drive all over Colorado for your wedding day. And then after that, I would say your venue could even get you started on your next steps, which would be finding other vendors like your photographer, your florist, your bakery. They often have either preferred vendor lists or just recommended vendors that they can send your way. They may even have a bunch of photos of work that vendors have done in their space so that you can kind of see it transformed. I would ask these questions as you're doing your venue tours because your vendors really should be helping you as much as possible, especially if you're really struggling with envisioning everything set up the day of. So I would start there. I know it can be a little bit intimidating, but just start Google searching, search on The Knot, ask friends and family where they've gone for weddings in Colorado that they thought were beautiful. Really just start simple and narrow it down from there, because if you think about it as a big picture, your wedding day can be very overwhelming, but if you narrow it down to these easier little steps, you will be planning a beautiful event in no time. So get searching, have fun with it, and make every venue tour, every vendor appointment, everything you have to do to really get these wedding details narrowed down, make it into a date day with your fiance, because as long as your engagement may be, it's going to go by very quickly and you're only engaged for a short amount of time. So really enjoy it and spend that time with your fiance.